Welcome to the Beyond Barriers podcast. If you're an ambitious woman who wants to dominate your career, then you are in the right place. This podcast is co-hosted by Nikki Barua, digital innovator, serial entrepreneur, author, and speaker, and Monica Marquez, ex-Googler, diversity expert, and senior corporate leader. From inspiring stories to cutting-edge strategies, you'll learn how to develop the skill set, mindset, and tool set to get future-ready fast and accelerate your success. Hi, welcome to the Beyond Barriers Habits and Hacks show. Today's show is about courage. Have you ever wondered how some people are just so fearless? They aren't afraid to take risks and stand up for themselves? Well, what they have mastered is having more faith than fear. So in today's episode, we're going to break down courage and the 5 essential elements so that you too can be courageous and walk straight forward with confidence. Define courage for us. Break it down.
The way I define courage is not the absence of fear, but it's really being able to move forward despite your fears.
Right. Okay.
Fear and faith are both imaginary. They're two sides of the same coin. In one case, and when we think about fear, we think something negative or painful will happen. And so, of course, we want to avoid that pain. And so we just stay right in the same spot. We don't want to take action. We don't move. And that's what prevents us from getting the results we want because we're just stuck in one spot. Faith, on the other hand, is the belief that something amazing, something positive is going to happen. Right. So, of course, we'll pull towards it. We can't wait to dive right in, and we're ready to take action, and we're full of hope and full of positive feelings and optimism. That's imaginary too. So both of these situations, when we think something bad will happen, we stand still. When we think something great will happen, we move forward. Courageous people, courage really comes down to having more faith, belief that something positive will happen, than fear, belief that something negative will happen. So if you want to move forward courageously, you just have to tap into what you have faith in, and instead of worrying about what you're fearful of.
So basically what it boils down to is courageous people aren't fearless. They just have learned to basically embrace faith more than fear and just moved forward with confidence.
That's exactly right.
So Nikki, we promised our audience that we were going to break down courage into the 5 essential elements. So do that for them. What are the 5 essential elements?
So here are the 5 essential elements. Number 1, it's knowing how to assess and identify your fears and limiting beliefs that are holding you back. You see, when we express our fears, we simply describe an emotion, but we don't name what we're fearful of. So we might say things like, well, I'm really scared, or I'm not, sure if I can do this. We just describe the things that are holding us back, the emotions that are holding us back, instead of naming the specific source. So the key thing here that really helps us overcome that fear is being able to simply identify it. Name that monster. Just give it a face and a name.
Get to know it.
Get to know it. Just face it. That's a really important first step, because if you don't even know what it's looked like, you imagine it to be bigger than it may really be. So simply being able to say, okay, this is exactly what I'm terrified of. Here's my list of fears. And I can tell that 80% of it is completely imaginary. Maybe 20% of it is something I got to deal with. But now it's a lot smaller. You just got to deal with a much smaller list of fears that you have to deal with. So once you're able to name that and give it a face and come to terms with it, it's a lot easier to feel more courageous. The second element of courage is knowing how to assess your risks and make decisions with certainty and confidence. So when you're facing a really challenging situation and you're not able to take action, it's because you may not know exactly what the risk entails. And if you do know what the risks are, you may not know exactly how to evaluate it. But if you can assess the situation and say, okay, this is what it really means, me quitting my job or starting a new business or asking for that raise or promotion, really the risk comes down to these few things. Now let me look at it and objectively assess, how risky is it? Can you put a number to it? Can you quantify that risk and then compare it and say, here's the upside of taking that risk, or here's the downside of taking that risk. Can I live with that? So simply being able to assess risk allows us to make decisions with a far greater degree of certainty. And then if you can be certain about something, you're naturally more confident. That's when you take action. That's when you move forward instead of being terrified and not doing anything.
So really, indecisiveness, the sooner you assess the risk, you can make a decision.
Yes, because you're removing the imaginary fears and the subjectivity or emotion out of it, and you're bringing it down to something rational that you can deal with and come up with a proper plan of action. The third essential element of courage is knowing how to adopt powerful identities to achieve your goals. So when you've set this big vision or a big goal, something you haven't done before, you're naturally likely to say, well, I don't know if I can because I haven't done it. You don't have the evidence of success yet. So there's a bit of fear to say, well, am I ready? Could I? What if I can't? There are all these limiting beliefs and fears that crop up. Well, a great thing to do at that point is adopting this identity of the persona that you need in order to achieve that goal. Who do you need to be in order to achieve that goal? So do you need to step into a different identity, someone who embodies the attributes and the characteristics of the kind of person who is bound to achieve those goals? So again, you're putting in a level of certainty and confidence that this person absolutely would achieve that goal. So it's like putting on an outfit. You just put that on, put on your gear and your armor, and you step in and you crush that goal.
Right.
Now, essential element number 4 is knowing how to communicate and show up with gravitas and confidence. You may have the confidence internally, but if that's not how you show up or how you communicate, it's taking away from your power. So that could mean really assessing your body language, your posture, your voice and tone, even down to something as simple as where you choose to sit in a conference room. What seat do you take? Do you take the one furthest away from the head of the table? Are you, really speaking up in a way that commands attention? So all of these little things really define our sense of personal power, because it's how we show up to everyone else. So a really effective way of building our own courage and confidence is the feedback that we're getting from people, because we respond to the way people are responding to us. So if you want to really level that up, really simple strategy is to ask people for feedback on what gives you your power and what takes away from that. So with that self-awareness, you're going to be able to develop better body language, better communication styles, and then just simply practice into that. And finally, essential element number 5 is knowing how to own your achievements and promote the impact you've created. Now, this is something that's probably familiar to all of us as women. We often tend to keep our heads down, do all the hard work. And when someone recognizes us and says, hey, great job, we say it wasn't me, it was the team. And we've all done it.
Yes,
right?
many times.
Yes. So that takes away from our confidence and our sense of personal power. It doesn't mean you shouldn't acknowledge the team, but it's important for you to acknowledge yourself as part of that, instead of simply deflecting the graciousness and the recognition that has come your way. So the next time someone congratulates you or recognizes you for a job well done, simply say thank you. That's it. And that one little pause of simply being able to say thank you and pausing is the difference between coming across confident and knowing your own value and worth versus deflecting it. So being able to own your accomplishments and then also being able to share it. That's not about being boastful or arrogant. It's not being ashamed of self-promotion. You're simply sharing with the world what impact you are able to create for other people and share your value and your story with people so you can serve more.
So essentially, it's accepting the gratitude others give you for the work you've done.
Exactly.
So Nikki, share with everyone your favorite habit or hack that you use to gain the courage you need to fearlessly move forward.
So my favorite habit, in fact, it's a daily habit for me, is starting my day with visualization and affirmations. It's such an important part of my daily routine where I'm able to visualize myself as who I need to be and who I'm becoming every day, as opposed to who I've been and the good or the bad of the past, because the past is the past. So the ability to visualize yourself into who you need to be, and then supporting that with an affirmation that reinforces that belief. Just being able to do that daily, it sort of has built a belief system where it's my past almost doesn't matter. It's who I'm becoming every single day and shaping into the character I'm creating of the hero I want to be. And so that is a daily habit. Along with that, a really cool hack that I've adopted for many, many years is when I walk into my closet, instead of just seeing clothes in the closet, I look at it as different identities. And I'm not referring to the actual clothes. I'm just thinking of it as, imagine a closet full of superhero identities, each one with a particular superpower. What do you need for that day? What do you need in order to conquer that day, in order to achieve whatever you set out, for that particular day? Maybe it's the day you need to go have a very difficult conversation.
Right.
Well, what kind of persona, what kind of attribute or personality do you need in order to have that difficult conversation? Maybe another day you have to be inspirational. Maybe you have to be on stage and speak. How do you need to show up? So I think of it as a closet full of superpowers, and I can pick out any one that I want to, help me get where I need to be and be who I need to be.
That hack really resonates with me because I feel like I have and I haven't thought about it as power identity costumes or super identity or power identity costumes, but I do have the power suit or that favorite like red shirt or the, favorite pair of shoes that kind of adds that pep in my step that just, like gives me that extra oomph. So I really like that. I think I'm going to adopt
everyone's got something of that sort, right? Like that little extra something. For some people, it might be something they even carry with them, or it could be a trigger, like being able to tap yourself and step into that state that you need. Whatever it is you need, it's a phenomenal way to just step into the courageous self and the courageous identity you need in order to keep moving forward. Because eventually, once you use that hack and are able to take action and you get the results, your confidence builds. So the next time you need less of that additional oomph, you're just able to rely on real evidence of real success.
Okay, everyone, here's your homework for this week. Pick one habit or hack that we shared with you in this episode and take action on it today. Then go to Instagram. Share with us what you did. Be sure to tag us so that we can highlight you in the next episode. And don't forget to visit IamBeyondBarriers.com, where you can find show notes and links to all the resources we referenced in this episode. Thanks for listening. There are thousands of podcasts out there, and we are so grateful that you've chosen to listen to ours. Visit IamBeyondBarriers.com, where you'll find show notes and links to all the resources referenced in this episode. And be sure to take the quiz on the website. Your score will tell you where you are, what helps you gain momentum, and what holds you back. You'll also get a free guide with cutting-edge career strategies. We'd also love to hear from you. Share your comments and topic suggestions on IamBeyondBarriers.com, and we'll be sure to address them in future episodes. If you enjoyed our show today, please subscribe and rate the podcast, or just tell a friend about it. See you next episode.